revitalizing the spirit, restoring our community. Urban Family Talk.
You know, Abe, I think it's so dangerous. One of the points you made, I want to say maybe in the last hour of the show, maybe the first, I don't know, but one of the points you made, you talked about the size of government. And Abe, I think it is so important for the American people, and certainly the Christian, to understand that that was not the intent. But I think that people have become so used to seeing government as it is, bloated and expansive and all-encompassing, that they believe that was always the aim. And so now to even try to envision a government that is in check by the people seems revolutionary, or seems that that was not the original intent. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it does. And one of the reasons, like I said before, one of the reasons why that ideology continues is because we're not being taught appropriately. The founders never, ever. Remember, when you consider how the government was formed, you have to place it within its proper context, cultural and historical. They had just escaped a tyrannical monarchy where all the power of the government was centralized in one figure. So in separated from Great Britain, they endeavored to create a government where power, first of all, was not centralized, and the federal government was always meant to be little, the smallest vestige of government, actually.
Wow.
The founders superintended thought where state governments would be larger and more impactful than federal government. But we don't know that because we're not taught it and we don't live within it. So it's hard for us to see that. But the federal government was never meant to be so big and do all of these things.
Now, this gets back to, let me say this, because some people hear that, and they hear, the aim and the intent of state government, right? And some people hear this catchphrase, they hear states' rights. And when some people hear states' rights, they think of slavery and they think of the South. And I think it's important to point out that when we're talking about states' rights, we're not talking about the right of the state to do what's wrong.
No, absolutely not. Which is, and here's the principle that people need to understand. When asked, and most citizens, when asked which form of government do we have, a democracy, what do we have? Most people say democracy. Wrong answer. What we have in America is a constitutional republic with democratic features. Okay. What is that? What is the difference between a constitutional republic and a democracy? Well, when you read the writings of the founders, you realize that in the process of deliberating, they recognize that democracy is nothing but mob rule. And they considered Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9, that the heart of man is desperately wicked. And I'm not telling you what my opinion is. This is written. This is documented.
Yeah.
They considered Jeremiah 17:9, that the heart of man is desperately wicked. And the thought came to bear, what happens if it's a democracy when the people's hearts all turn wicked?
Wow.
Or continue wicked? They said what has to happen, that we have to have, in your words, a straight edge.
Come on.
We have to have a straight edge so that when the people, not if, when the people, they foresaw a day when people's hearts would turn away from God farther than they were at that time. When the people turn away, we have this founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution, to point them back to true north, if you will.
Wow.
Point them back to the foundations, which is why everything that the democratic will that is exercised must be filtered, as the founders founded it, filtered through the purview of the Constitution. The Constitution was meant to be a form of natural straight edge, if you will.
Wow.
For the nation. They considered it, they deliberated about this, which is why it is not an absolute mob rule. They said majority rule is nothing more than mob rule. Majority rule must be buttressed by an edge. So understanding that, which is why, and I'll say this too, it's a diabolical thought to teach the Constitution as separate from the Declaration of Independence, because people don't even realize this. The Declaration of Independence announces at the onset in the separator from Great Britain, announces the understanding that the founders had that all men are created equal. So you understand that with the Constitution. People thought the Constitution was a slave advocating document. Frederick Douglass, in his own writing, says he thought that too until he read it.
Wow.
When he read it, he realized the Constitution is one of the most anti-slavery documents he never heard of. People also don't realize that one of the first actions that coincided with the passage of the Constitution was the Northwest Ordinance. What is that? The Northwest Ordinance was an ordinance that was passed in 1789, shortly after the Constitution. Sorry, I got so hyped I dropped my phone.
No, that's all right.
The Northwest Ordinance was passed shortly after the Constitution. You know what the Northwest Ordinance said? The Northwest Ordinance expressly prohibited the trade of slavery within federally held territory at the same time that the Constitution was passed. My point in saying that is that the founders understood this, and they knew they had some people who were not Christians, who were not advocates of the Declaration of Independence, but they still wanted to form a nation that didn't agree that all men were created equal. So in the form of a slight compromise, they passed the Constitution, but also said the Northwest Ordinance is going to pass too. So just these colonies, the ones that have it, they'll have slavery. While that was happening, slavery was already outlawed in some of the northern colonies at the time the Constitution was passed.
Dude.
People don't know any of this.
No.
And said, well, wherever it is, that's where it has to stay. And we hope that you guys come to light and realize that what you're doing is wrong and it's sinful before God. But I'm going to tell you what, any additional American territory ain't going to have it. But we're not taught this because they want us as black folks to think, states' rights, the government always been hostile towards blacks. Always hated black people, always for slave advocating. Well, that's not the truth.
Abe, you're teaching right now. You're teaching. Let me do this. I got another clip. I'm looking at people in the church, and somebody just put a picture of Shaquille O'Neal with his eyes like real wide, like whoa, like if you can envision that, yes.
When if you visit my house, I have these documents framed on my wall to teach my children to prohibit them from developing this ungodly disdain for white people.
Come on, Abraham.
Our enemy. Just because there were some wicked white people don't make all white people wicked. Just like some wickedness of black folks don't make all black folks wicked.
Come on. Oh, so, Abe, this is a great question in the Churban, and I'm glad Abe's going to get an opportunity to address it. Maybe we can tag team a little bit. So, Brumman said, what about the 3/5 compromise? Please address this, Abraham. Yes.
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Very good, Brumman.
Brumman, thank you for the question, brother. Let me explain
Brumman from the 3/5 floor. Okay, go ahead.
Brumman from the 5th floor. Okay, let me explain this. And this is not my own analysis of the 3/5 clause. This is Frederick Douglass's analysis.
Right.
You know the same cat, former slave, son of the Reed, became a constitutional advocate and advisor to president. Yeah, that guy.
Do it.
He said he understood, because when you read the deliberations concerning the 3/5 clause, it had nothing to do with the value of the human being.
Nope.
Not in the least bit. The 3/5 clause meant to address in the formulation of this Constitution, because you had slaveholding states that were in the South.
Come on.
That did not want to give black people the right to vote.
Yes.
But wanted to, and this goes important in our discussion earlier, but wanted to use the black slaves in the South as the bases from which to count the population so they can have more representatives in the largest and the most impactful branch of government, which was the congressional legislature.
So they wanted to use the representation of black people to keep black people enslaved. Do you understand? I want people to get that. I want people to, because this is so critical. This is so critical.
And so this is what the northern anti-abolitionist state said. Said, okay, well, if you want to count the slaves, and I want to count my furniture, I want to count my car carriages, I want to count my horses, because you're saying there's nothing more than people than property, right?
They were using their own argument against them.
Right.
Understand, this was not meant to be demeaning. This was to show the hypocrisy of what they were trying to do.
The slave advocates.
Yes.
So the slave advocates then say, oh, wait, no, because y'all have too much of that stuff up there. No, we don't want that to happen. So this is the compromise they struck, that they would count the slaves for 3/5 of an individual solely for the purpose of determining how many representatives they would have in Congress. It had nothing to do with the estimable value of a human life.
Come on, Abe.
Right.
Because you have to put this discussion within the same discussion, because these are the same people deliberated the Northwest Ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they expressly forbid slavery in the federally held territory.
Oh, Lord.
And these are the same people who sent the letter to King George of Britain that says, listen, we recognize that we have been endowed by a creator with certain unalienable rights, and that we are all created equal.
Man.
Telling him we don't like this slavery that y'all making us have in America, because it was only in America because it was slavery in England.
Come on. It's amazing what a little thing called history will do. I mean,
a little thing called history.
Man.
What does the Bible say? My people do what for lack of knowledge?
Perish.
Now here we are, many of us in 2015, still aimed at the white man. We can't even get our head out of the sand to recognize the snake in the form of Barack Obama.
Oh,
we vote him based on skin color.
Man.
All because of ignorance, because we think them white folks don't love us. They don't care about us.
Man.
They didn't even see you as a whole person.
Skin color taking on of Beelzebub, not the Beelzebub, but a Beelzebub. That puts us in a position where we have to determine whether or not if we are county clerk, whether or not we're going to stamp a marriage license for people that God has determined that it's not a marriage. We have to make that choice because we have a president that want to light up the White House in rainbow colors.
Revitalizing the spirit, restoring our community. Urban Family Talk.